The hardest part in making games or software isn't math or programming, it's people. Unlike algorithms, there's no deterministic way to make friends or hire talent, and there's no single formula or method to manage the groups you do create. But good people are often what make or break a project. So today, we're going to talk about how to find those good people. And as a disclaimer, I'm not trying to preach a pickup artist social engineering tips and tricks ebook sort of thing. There are just a few things I've noticed from my own experiences that I think are helpful when making connections with anyone. But before we talk about how to meet people, let's talk about the when. I think there are a lot of you out there who have made a few small hobby projects and you want to make something larger, a bit more next level, but you think you might need a dedicated artist or programmer to get there. If you don't already have a studio or a small network of friends or freelancers you trust, then my first piece of advice is to work alone for as long as possible. Of course you can and probably should always try to meet new people, but you can probably finish 80% of any project with your current skills, Google, and a lot of effort. Once again, in my personal opinion, if you're just starting out and don't already have people to work with, push yourself to make a completely playable game from start to finish, and then look for people to fill in the blanks. Maybe you make all the assets and level designs in GameMaker and send it to a programmer to be ported to Unreal or Unity. Maybe you make a complete game with crudely drawn placeholder art and have an artist swap out assets later. As a side note, I think it's also important to do this to understand the workflow of your potential teammates by actually doing what they do to some extent and not just reading about it. You really internalize how much effort a few seconds of quality animation takes and how much time good, clean code will save. This helps everyone set reasonable expectations for each other once you all start working together. The next thing to think about before trying to assemble a team is that no one is going to be as invested in your ideas as you are, no matter how close of friends they are or how good your idea is. If you and a friend come up with an idea, you both created it, so you both care about it. But if you already started writing stories and designing levels before asking your friend to help, those projects can often fall apart. With small teams working on big projects, you need to make sure that everyone is able to contribute something crucial so they have responsibility and ownership in their work, that they personally have a reason to see it to completion. It's this sort of drive that powers small studios and startups with nothing less. And no matter how much money or other quantifiable incentives you offer, I found that people always do their best work when a meaningful culture is established. And that's something really rare and special to have. So from my experience, give your best effort alone before seeking out others. Or at least be sure that everyone on your team has a reason to give their best effort. Otherwise, it's easy for your project to fizzle out and die. In this sense, I think it's best to build a network without any particular purpose or goal immediately in mind. You want to actually have a degree of trust or interest in people, not just spam them about an idea you need help with or a product you're trying to promote. When the time comes, people may give you opportunities and you may have some for them. Like when your project is naturally at the stage where it needs art, by that point you may have a few artists you know on Twitter or somewhere else. Once again, I think it's best to meet people when you don't specifically intend on meeting them. A lot of those networking tips and tricks are fine, but it's hard to force these things. To me, all you can really do is put yourself out there in different ways and see what happens. Like, don't just read message boards, post on them. Don't just watch videos. Go to conferences and meet the speakers. Email or tweet at people with questions about their work. Go to hackathons and game jams and get feedback on your own. When it comes to people, just be nice, listen well, and don't try to impress anyone. Be yourself and be respectful. All those things you've probably heard. So the only real social engineering kind of tip I have is to make a personal mission statement. Know what you want and why. Know why your project matters and how you plan to finish it. And it's really easy to get stuck on the why, and it's the hardest possible question you can ask yourself. And it can be especially difficult to share your deepest passions with others and to be vulnerable with strangers. But that fearlessness can really connect to someone else who shares the same ideas. But you need to know what you want and the why before you can share that with someone. And having a why is crucial to motivating yourself to bring your what to completion, which is your project. And you can probably talk about your why with a like-minded person for hours with no social tips or techniques required. It just fuels itself. So meeting good people is really serendipity. So while we could get into specifics, I feel like it's just all about the attitude and effort and the way that you prepare yourself when you do meet those good people. Figure out what you want and why. Get to work on it and then put yourself in situations where you can share that. That's it. And all the good, right, talented people I've met and worked with in my life came about randomly, but it did take a lot of effort to be in the situation I was to meet them and partner with them. So let me know how you've met your best friends or teammates, since those stories can be really valuable because there is no specific method to find those people. And I'd like to talk more about working with people, even though I'm pretty introverted by nature, since it's a topic I feel isn't discussed enough in the software and game dev world, even though it's pretty critical to making a successful thing. So for now, keep making cool stuff, work hard, and have a happy day wherever you are. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.